What's up, guys? I'm Pete Forrester. Welcome back to the new Flips and Bricks. I know you guys were so excited that we weren't online anymore because I know how much you hate this show, but actually this time it's gonna be a little bit different. We're diving really deep into topics that are prescient, that are going on. And so what are we gonna talk about this week? Supreme's valuation of $1 billion. $1 billion is a lot of fucking money. So why is that happening? How did that happen? And what does that mean for Supreme? We're gonna talk about it today. You ready? Here we go. So obviously, if we're gonna understand why Supreme should or shouldn't be evaluated at $1 billion, we have to sort of understand where the brand came from and a little bit about the brand history. Now, you guys already know about Supreme. You know about the website, you know about the lineup, and you know that every couple of months they just sort of disappear for a little while they're, going between the seasons. The brand started in 1994, and it was just one location. It's the same location that's on Lafayette Street in New York in Soho right now. There's already something sort of cool. That same location's been there for 23 years. People have not been lining up for 23 years, but it is the same location. Something happened in 2014, and we actually didn't know about it until pretty recently. The Good Group bought a minority share in the company. It wasn't made public. It was not on any of the Good Group's financial disclosures. There was nothing from Supreme about this, but it happened. And sort of one of the ways that you can confirm that it happened is that an agent from the Good Group has been sitting on the board of directors for Supreme since 2014. That's always a big red flag. If there's somebody just sort of random sitting on the board of a company, it should tell you that there might be something going on. We know about this now thanks to Women's Wear Daily's reporting on the Supreme $1 billion evaluation. The whole mystique around Supreme is that, nobody could get it. It's this very mom and pop feeling, everything is limited. And so, of course, you don't want to think about the man coming in, investing all this money, so this capital, so you know that it's part of this bigger company. It's sort of, if you look at what Supreme has done over the last 3 years, they've really grown in terms of intensity of releases. Also, in 2016, just 2 years after that initial investment, they opened a shop in Paris. And then, just a couple of weeks ago, they opened up the shop in Brooklyn. That's pretty quick to open up 2 shops, especially on an international stage, considering the fact that it took them all the previous 23 years to open up the 8 shops that they had before. This week, we learned that the Carlyle Group has valued Supreme at $1 billion. Now, according to Women's Wear Daily, that's $1 billion and then $100 million in debt. So altogether, it's 1.1. And the Carlyle Group has reportedly purchased a $500 million stake in the company. So to sort of put that in context, LVMH, the big company that is Louis Vuitton, Moet, Hennessy, they sold Donna Karan for $650 million last year. So the entirety of Donna Karan that everybody knows is worth a third less than Supreme is. So that's pretty big. Now, we're going to talk to someone a little bit later about why that number may be a little bit conflated and what that sort of means about if you want to own a piece of Supreme, if you'll ever be able to own a piece of Supreme, and what that's going to do for the Supreme brand. So we're here with Tyler Blake, who is you can tell better than I can. So how about you do that?
Wow, just throw me right into the intro. My name is Tyler Blake. I've worked both boutique and then corporate level for a bunch of different companies, and right now I do my own marketing consulting company that solely relates to sneakers and clothing, which I believe we're going to get into talking to soon.
Perfect. Yeah, we are going to be talking about sneakers and clothing specifically. So I wanted to bring you on because you have a really good grasp both on the entrepreneurial world and sort of just using this the sneakers and style as a way to sort of make money and sort of how those two communities can sort of work off one another. And I know that you have a very particular point of view about the way the Supreme valuation happened. $1 billion is a lot of money. And so I'm curious, and I would like to have you sort of explain to our audience what you think about that valuation and maybe how you think they got to it.
Sure. So, typically in retail, the way that you would calculate a valuation like that is you take a certain number of years, most of the time it's 5 years,
okay,
and multiply that by their revenue. Now, we really don't know how much money Supreme is making, and the reason why I think the valuation is high as it is not that they're necessarily making that much money. They're definitely making a ton of money, but I think this group kind of sees the brand value in Supreme as this brand that could be as big as Gucci or global. And
sure.
It already is a global brand, but when you think about Supreme only having a certain number of stores, releases every week, that sort of thing, and you think of Gucci flagships around the world, I think that's the vision, that $1 billion vision, but I think it's the wrong valuation. I would definitely not put my money into that.
I know that you don't have the same sort of financial disclosures as the Carlyle Group or the Good Group has, but just based on your experience, where would you put the valuation if not at $1 billion?
The problem is that all signs are pointing to Supreme being sold to even a larger public company entirely, right? And the problem with Supreme's valuation is what makes it valuable is the fact that it's not really been treated like a public company. That limited supply, the kind of, not random flagships, but random product drops, that's what got the cult following, and something that really picked up really in line with the kind of sneaker craze, right? And that's not to say Supreme wasn't popular before then, but in terms of explosive popularity, around the same line. Now, we've seen what have happened with sneakers. Supreme has obviously stood the test of time, but people forget, late 90s, early 2000s, there wasn't the same hype around the brand. In fact, I've done some archival work with the brand, and it's almost impossible to date and find some of these shirts that they've done. There just was not only not a lot of documentation, but they either were not making a lot of them, or they were pulling them basically to say they haven't sold out. So they've been building up this cult following, and for them to expand and make it, not the level of H&M, but more accessible, I think that kills its valuation for me. So ideally, I'd want them to stay private and keep doing things how they're doing, but I think the owner, it's been 20 plus years now, he's ready to be out, and the brand really is at an all-time high.
That's it for today, guys. If you have any questions, if you have any opinions about this, which I cannot imagine any of you have any opinions about this, but in case you do, just drop them in the comments below. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, all that stuff. Don't forget, we're gonna be doing this, interviews, site visits, diving into topics like we did this one from now on. So if you have anything that you wanna hear about, anyone you want me to talk to, any sort of spaces you want me to go into, you have those ideas. I'm sure they're terrible. Share them with us anyway, because all of our ideas are terrible, as you've seen, because I know this show is terrible. Until next time, don't forget the drop airs on Wednesday. In the drop, you get to see everything that's coming out that week, whether there's something you want to cop because you can make some money off of it, drop because it's not going to be any good, or just, because you want to hang out with me during your lunch break, because who doesn't want to hang out with me during their lunch break? All right, I'll see you guys next week. Have a good one.